Welcome to episode 17 of Design Curious Podcast. Today I am talking about books. I guess I am a bit of a bookworm. I do love learning. I love reading ever since probably the fourth grade. But in the last 5 to 8 years, I've really turned my attention towards self-improvement books and business improvement books. And so I've brought to you today books that I thought would be helpful for those discovering the career of interior design, as well as those starting out their businesses. So I will have a list for you. I'm going to kind of talk through them in the episode, but of course they will all be listed out in the show notes, so you don't have to worry about writing them all down. So you can go to the show notes and get links to all of these books and put them on your wish list for the holidays. I think these would be a great idea. I have a lot of books on my own wish list. I love it when people buy me books or even Audible credits so that I can listen to those in the car or whatever I might be doing. And we are still in the midst of the holidays. I want to remind you about the promos we have going with my design mentor. So if you sign up this month, you can get a 30-minute bonus call with me so I can answer all of your questions you might have about the career or launching your own business. Another way that you can get a bonus is by purchasing the business starter kit within the program. Or if you have a friend that you refer to the program and they sign up, then you can also get a 30-minute call with me. So if you want to take advantage of that, head over to ourwarddesign.com to look into the program. All right, so let's get into these books today. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. All right, so this book list that I have is by all means not all of the books that I have read, nor is it every single one that I recommend, but it's just ones that come to top of mind for me right now as I'm thinking about the ones I want to recommend to you to put on your wish list for people to give you maybe as presents or give you some Audible credits to purchase these books. Listening to a lot of these books audibly has been a great way to get through all the books that I want to listen to because I can listen to them while I'm walking, doing chores and things like that. When I don't always have the time to sit down and actually physically read a book, it's really helpful to have that Audible option. All right, so the first category I want to touch on is actually for the skills of interior design. For those of you who are thinking about the career in interior design or maybe haven't gone to design school yet, these are some books that are actually used as textbooks. A few of them I was assigned as textbooks in my college classes, and they may still be used, may not. I don't know. I haven't checked the curriculums lately, but I did find them helpful, and I'm sure a lot of this information could be found online if you're just Googling for it, but it is nice to have a reference book at the tip of your fingers. Sometimes just having a book is better than the internet. So I don't know, maybe I'm old school that way, but I do like having these in my library. And especially in early days, I referenced it a lot when I was unsure about spatial dimensions and interior design particulars. So one of the first ones I would recommend is called Professional Practice for Interior Designers by Christine Piotrowski. And it has been updated many times. So I think it's maybe in the 6th or 7th edition. So you'll want to get the most recent that she has updated for you. And in there, she talks about all the different ways that you can run your practice as an interior designer. And I think she has a sample contract in there licensed from ASID and maybe also from IIDA. I don't recall, but I did reference this a lot as I was setting up my own practice. Of course, I didn't have all of the resources that I have access to now through podcasts and internet and all those things. So I know I'm sounding like a dinosaur, but I do think that there is some value in this book. So do check it out. The other one is Human Dimensions and Interior Space by Julius Pinheiro. So this is great because it shows you, and I'm very visual, so I like to see the graphs and charts of human dimensions. This book also is helpful for when you're studying for the NCIDQ and need to know, how wide the doors need to be and things like that. All those little details, these are just the standards that go into that is doable for people like passing behind a chair to get like a walkway behind a chair at a dining table between the wall, or if there's another chair behind you. I think it also touches in commercial spaces as well. So that can be useful, just knowing human dimensions. Another one that I was recommended to by my professor in school was called Time Saver Standards for Interior Design and Space Planning by a couple of people. I think De Chiara, not sure how to pronounce that, but that is a giant, heavy book. But this definitely has all of residential and commercial standards. So it'll be like the ADA compliant standards, how large all the spaces have to be for a certain amount of people. Very useful. Like I said, it's like a textbook. So if you haven't gone to design school, this could be definitely something you're going to want to reference. And then Interior Construction and Detailing for Designers and Architects by Ballast. And that is another one that kind of shows you more of the construction detailing, which was definitely and still is one of my weaker points, knowing how things are put together. So those 4 books, I would say, are really textbooks. They are kind of pricey, but I would say they're worth to have in your library if you have not gone to design school or if you're exploring the career itself. Okay, so the next area of books I would recommend is for business development. So this would be books that I've read either to help me with developing my business practices or understanding marketing, branding, and things like that. All right, so the first one I would recommend is E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. It is a great book that explores the difference between the creative person and the actual CEO business runner. A lot of people will start a business because they love doing the craft. So you're an interior designer, you love doing the interior design, but you probably don't know a lot about running a business. And so this book explores about how you need to spend time working on your business as well as in your business. Most people just want to work in the business. So this book is highly recommended by many people, and I recommend it as well. So you can start there. I would recommend all of Mike Michalowicz's books. I've read them all, but the 3 top ones that I would recommend are Profit First, Get Different, and The Pumpkin Plan. I love listening to those ones on Audible as well, and he's so animated, he just makes it really fun to listen to and very inspiring. So check those out. Then I would move on to Start With Why, which I've mentioned before with Simon Sinek. So it's kind of the motivation, why you're doing things, why other people do things. Really interesting topic, I thought, because it really plays into marketing, messaging, branding, which is what you need to do for your business. And speaking of branding, I would say Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller is a must read as well when you're developing your website and messaging. A lot of great tips in that. And then likewise, This is Marketing by Seth Godin. Another really good perspective on marketing, what people pay attention to. Even if you don't think that marketing is your forte or anything like that, I've found these marketing and branding books to be really useful when I'm thinking about the messaging and the experience that I'm building for my clients. And then I would definitely include in there Kimberly Seldon's Business of Design Volumes 1 through 3. And in those, it lays out her whole system, which you can also explore, of course, in her coaching program. But these books go through it as well. They talk about the lifestyle of a designer, creating the life that you want while you're owning your own business, and then kind of the practices. And then volume 3 is talking about flat fees versus hourly fees. Okay, so the next area we can talk about is personal growth. I love personal growth books. And one of those is Atomic Habits, must read by James Clear. Really inspiring, kind of a kick in the pants on getting things done and just kind of the nature of people and how to make it so that we are achieving our goals, because it needs to be intentional and not accidental. I'd also say Essentialism. Greg McKeown is the author of that. And that was another one that was really like, wow, you've got to fine tune and focus what your goals are and make sure that you're achieving in life what you're wanting. So yeah, everyone should read Essentialism. I thought that was really eye-opening. And the one that I finished recently that I really enjoyed was called Boundary Boss by Terry Cole. I thought this was really effective for personal relationships, but also with relationships with clients. Setting boundaries with clients is so important. So I would recommend Boundary Boss for that. And then The Road Back to You by Ian Cron and Susan Stable is a book on the Enneagram and just discovering personality types and understanding them all, I think is beneficial for understanding your clients and learning how to communicate with them well. So that's The Road Back to You. And then lastly in this category, I have The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And this book talks about our upper limit problem, where we kind of set limits on what we can achieve without realizing it, and that we need to kind of come to terms with the things that the limits that we're placing on ourselves so that we can reach beyond that and actually achieve the goals that we want. Okay, so the next category I have is Money Mindset. And my favorite books in this category are You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. I've read the physical copy. I've also listened to the audiobook. Both are really fun. And then the other one is We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. And some crossover mindset things, but also really inspiring, and I found really beneficial for my business. So those are the categories that I have recommended for you. And just on a side note, what the things that I have on my list to read or that I just am starting right now, I just started Business Made Simple by Donald Miller, and I think that's going to be really good. Actually, I would probably recommend it to my group next year. We have a book club within my Design Mentor, so I have books in there that I kind of recommend, and if anyone wants to talk about it quarterly, we can. There's places to discuss it in there. But I think Business Made Simple is going to be really good for either people who want to start their own business or those who are working for someone else. It's how to really maximize yourself in the workplace. And what else is on my list is Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Duckworth. I've heard good things about that, so I have put that on my list. And then I also have Win at Work and Succeed at Life, 5 Principles to Free Yourself from the Cult of Overwork by Michael Hyatt and Megan Hyatt Miller. So that's what I've got on my list coming up. I think I might revisit this maybe at the end of next year and kind of let you know the books that I did touch on this year and new ones that I have coming up. But if you're anything like me, I just really love the self-improvement, work improvement, business improvement type of books. I do read some fun for leisure, but actually I really just have fun reading these books. Hopefully that's helpful to you and that you can put some of those on your wish list and people can help support you in a way of getting these books for you. All right, so what do you guys think? Am I a nerd or what? I don't know. Maybe you have to be an entrepreneur, but growth mindset is something that is one of my core values. It's very important to me. The hope of learning and growing and just being able to transform and change is just so inspiring to me. And I love when other people embrace that too. So if you have actually any book recommendations that you'd like me to consider, please do send them my way because I'm always looking for a good book to try out, and I would love to add that to my list to read this year. So like I said, all of those books are listed in the show notes. You can find that at ourworddesign.com/podcast. Feel free to email me, podcast@ourworddesign.com, or connect with me on Instagram at ourworddesign. I'd love to see you in my messages and answer any questions that you might have. And I hope you guys are enjoying your holidays as we're approaching the end of the year. I have another great interview for next week with someone who really was critical in helping me achieve one of my goals for this year. So we'll see you next week, Creative One, to discover if interior design is the career for you. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.